we're joined by Philippe Espinasse. He's author of IPO, A Global Guide. It was released in April this year. Philippe, thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
Well, Phil just touched on why the deals are getting done here to some extent. What's your view?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, the IPO market had a bit of a slow start this year, and now it's very much on track.
You rapidly have caught up with last year, haven't we?
Yeah, we're pretty much in line with last year. I mean, volume so far this year, about 250 IPOs that have come into the market in Asia ex-Japan, representing about $42 billion.
But it's unlikely in the rest of the year because, I mean, we had the big ones, AIA, and also, of course, Agricultural Bank of China.
Yes. Well, this year we've also had a few big ones. I mean, Glencore, obviously, $10 billion. We've also had in Singapore, HPH Trust, which was more than $5 billion, and a host of others, Shanghai Pharmaceutical, $2 billion, and quite a few others. And actually quite a few transactions in the market right now, and the pipeline remains very, very full.
Phil said that the liquidity was here, and that was one of those issues. Is it really? I mean, and is it going to be here for long?
Well, the market is very liquid in Hong Kong, and I think that's one of the reasons why we've also seen some companies that delisted from Singapore and decided to relist in Hong Kong, where they think they can get better liquidity, also better following on the part of research analysts, and that in turn will feed and actually feeds higher valuations.
Well, I'm just going to stick on the liquidity point, because the amount of money which is now being transferred into RMB in Hong Kong is about $70 billion worth of CNH in the market,
yes,
which cannot be traded. It sits there as people wait for the appreciation story of the RMB. Isn't that sucking liquidity out? Isn't that almost a form of monetary tightening?
I don't really think so. I mean, and I don't think it will have an effect on IPOs for a while. I think it's more, there's more IPO fatigue that's starting to settle in. I mean, there is...
Is that what we saw with Glencore?
I think that's what we saw with Glencore. I think that's what we've also seen with other transactions. Some transactions have started to trade below water. We've also seen some transactions that have actually been resized, downpriced, and what we've also seen, it's a bit of a Hong Kong specialty, is an increasing proportion of these IPOs that take the form of cornerstone investors. So when these transactions come to market, a big proportion of the deal is already parked away, and the book runners are safe in the knowledge that what they have to place for the market afterwards is actually smaller.
All right. So who does well looking ahead with this particular market? I mean, we've got China, Hong Kong. Who are the better performers? Who are going to be perhaps left by the wayside? Well,
clearly, I think China and Hong Kong will continue to figure very highly in the list. And if you look at what's been issued so far, China and Hong Kong represents about 85% of all the IPO volume that's come to market in Asia. Looking at other countries, I mean, India and Korea, very much down compared with last year. We've seen a little bit of action on the IPO front in Indonesia, but the deals overall remains fairly small. And in all these three countries, they're basically domestic transactions that are not distributed internationally.
Okay, and what about the ones which, are not going to do so well, are going to do poorly, perhaps?
Well, I think India is obviously a case in point, and a number of IPOs that have come to market over the last 6 months or so, they have actually been trading down, and quite a few concerns about the market going forward. So I think on the IPO front, India will continue to be disappointing, I'm afraid.
Okay, well, we've got a few coming on stream that Phil talked about. We've got a Resourcehouse, we've got Prada, Samsonite as well. Do you think there's a chance any of these could be pulled if one of those three does not go to plan?
I don't think so. I mean, Resourcehouse had a bit of a delay. Obviously, it's the fourth time it's coming to market.
Fourth time lucky, we've been saying.
Well, I think the fact that it's now at the stage where it is, with the retail offering having started, probably means that enough demand has been secured on the institutional front. I think the company's also been very careful to paint itself as a China play. If you look at the prospectus, it's all about, we've got Chinese customers, we employ Chinese employees. So I think these transactions will do well, but I think they also need to be priced.
What about Prada? I mean, this is also, you mentioned Resourcehouse was tried to list before, so has Prada.
Yes, I mean, Prada's tried to come to market a few times. Now it's a very well-known name. I think there's an affinity in Hong Kong with retail investors, in particular with luxury stores. I think Prada will do well, again, provided it's priced sensibly.
Philippe, let's have a look at your book. This is it, IPO. Guys, can we bring it up? IPO, a global guide there, available in most bookshops?
Absolutely, most bookshops in Hong Kong and also online.
Thank you so much for that. Philippe Espinasse there. He's an author and consultant, author of IPO, a global guide. Right.